Avocado.
What are you talking about?
Harry Potter.
Alright. I like the movies. Yeah, they're good. I've read all the books, don't like them quite as much. The movies are better. Alright.
A controversial opinion. Oh, hello there. Come in. Thank you for joining us once again, and welcome for
103rd episode of Drunk Doctor Who, the Armageddon Factor.
I forgot how the intro went.
Alright, okay, so this is the sixth and final serial in the Key of Time season, the Key to Time, and today is, we didn't change the date.
Podcast. Okay. Welcome to the Doctor Who.
Today is the 5th of September. 5th of September, which is my wife and I's anniversary. And so I'm doing this on our anniversary. Love you, Sunshine.
Sunshine.
We've been married 13 years to the day. Isn't that awesome? Alright, so, 9-5. Working 9 to 5.
Working 9 to 5.
Right. Alright, number of episodes, 6. They aired from January 20th, 1979 to February 24th, 1979. Companions are Kanan and Romana. And we have several antagonists, actually. I'm going to include the Marshal.
Mm-hmm. What was his name?
Marshal.
Yep. Marshal.
Marshal. I would include the Shadow. And I would include the Black Guardian. Those are our antagonists.
Shadow.
And the Black Guardian. Alright.
The mountain.
So, anyway, what are you drinking today?
Well, we started off with
Jim Beam.
whiskey Diet Coke. Then we moved on to a White Claw, raspberry, and then we had a
You're drinking Smirnoff Ice.
raspberry. Yeah,
Blackberry.
it has a few things in it. I think it's blueberry, cherry, and citrus. Oh, the White Claw was blackberry. My bad.
All right. I am drinking Captain Morgan Long Island iced tea. It's pretty good, low octane. So I'm sober-ish. Anyway, I said ish. Okay. What are you? The Shadow, Black. You know, you can write another line under that line. I'm not even sure that's in shot. Okay.
I'm not sure if that's PC.
What?
No.
Black Guardian.
Hello, and thank you for joining us once again for this, the 103rd episode of Drunk Doctor Who, wherein we discuss the 103rd serial.
You misspelled Guardian.
Oops.
G-U-A-R-D, not G-A-U-D.
I'm drunk.
Alright, you're staying here now. Right? G-U-A-R-D-I-A-N. Alright. Okay, so, anyway.
Like the galaxy.
So, the Doctor and Romana are looking for the sixth part of the Key of Time. Like I said, 6 episodes, because his first 6 seasons, the good ones, are all 4-4, 4-4, 4-6. Well, no, his first season is not because of Genesis of the Daleks. So his second to 6 seasons are 4-4, 4-4, 4-6. When everything was stabilized. It's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, my bad.
Black Guardian. No, it's not African American. He's the Black Guardian.
Oh. I'll get it right. Keep going. Vamp.
Black is in the color, not the race.
You're the professional. Keep on going.
Oh. He's very drunk. Anyway, you're also in check, sir.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Okay. And you gotta move your king forward. That'll move your rook back, but moving your rook back's a horrible idea. Alright, so...
I choose to flip the table.
Not this table.
No,
trust me.
This is a heavy table.
It is. This is granite. Alright. Okay, black. Okay, so anyway.
Where'd you granite from?
So, the show starts out with a little bit of a soap opera thing.
Good luck with this recap.
Okay. So is this the weirdest serial you've seen so far? Or?
No.
Which one would that be?
I'll have to find it.
Okay.
It's one in mind.
It's a fairly funny, weird cereal. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. The 6 parts helps it because not only do we have to deal with the Marshal and the war between the 2 planets, we have to deal with the Shadow, and then we have to deal with the Black Guardian. So it's all of that in a bag of chips. So it starts out, they're heading to the planet Zeos, because that's what the key is. The Tracer is telling them to do. But they can't find Zeos. What's the name of the other planet? Atrios? Mm-hmm. So the twin planet to Zeos is Atrios. I guess is on the other side of the sun in the same orbit. Atrios has all these people on it, and they're fighting this long war against the planet of Zeos. Atrios is in bad shape. Literally, the infrastructure is crumbling. They're getting bombarded by the planet Zeos on a regular basis. They're almost out of ships and people and pilots and everything. And you've got this Marshal. Cuts a fine figure for a man in his, looks like late 50s. With his red, the whole military outfit with the big lapels. And he literally, between attacks, keeps meditating by staring into a mirror.
Much like I do.
Yeah, and it's a 2-way mirror. On the other side is a skull, one of those crystal skulls, like Indiana Jones, right?
It looks like a...
like the top half, not the draw piece.
A gelatin, one of those target practice bullet gelatin skulls.
I am unaware of which you speak.
It looks like it's made out of gelatin.
Looks a little more crystally to me, but anyway. So he and the Princess Astra, they're kind of
Astrios.
I didn't even get that. Yeah, Astra of Astrios.
Trios.
Anyway. So she is a young 20-something blonde, thin little princess. She and he are kind of at head because she's the last of the royal house, whereas he's been given emergency powers to fight the war.
Martial law.
Yeah, essentially. Martial law by the Marshal. Marshal
the Marshal.
Yeah. Anyway,
martial law.
He suspects her of colluding with Merrick, is his name?
Merrick, yeah.
And Merrick, who's a surgeon, and who's been helping the wounded from the war and from the bombardments. But it turns out, actually, that his suspicions are correct. She and Merrick have been trying to contact Zeos in order to sue for peace, because they're so devastated on Atrios. Apparently the war's been going on for 5 years or so. That's what the Shadow had implied.
And Drax.
And anyway, so at the beginning, the Marshal's trying to send the fleet out. The fleet can't find Zeos. Turns out they can't find Zeos because in the end there's this third planet base in between the 2 planets that's keeping them from seeing each other.
Looks like a mobile.
Yeah, a little. No, it looks like it looks like a jack from when you play ball and jacks.
Oh, the caltrop.
Yeah, the little jack caltrops. Yeah, it looks kind of like that. But anyway, so it's shielding the planets from each other. It's scrambling the stuff. And so the Doctor and Romana initially land outside the planet, and they kind of start flying their way, the TARDIS, towards the planet. And the Marshal suspects the TARDIS of being the device that is clouding the navigation systems of the ships. But it's not, of course. But he sends up a missile to shoot out of the sky. And the missile does. And the Doctor and Romana, the Doctor waits until the very last second to teleport out down to the planet to make them think that they destroyed the TARDIS. And it fools the Marshal, It does not fool a second in command. What's his name?
Sounds like
Stapp. Stapp, right?
Shap.
Shapp. Okay, does not fool Shapp. Shapp.
Old chap.
He's this kind of baby-faced, but really, he's a really good guy. He's loyal, and he's a good actor. Actually, the entire cast is pretty much great in this.
I have no complaints.
Yeah, the entire cast is pretty much great.
Speaking of talent, my agent did send you a memo about my sore throat. Now I required a honey spritzer for. I just took out a new insurance policy on my vocal cords. Did you get that?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll get a new agent.
Okay. So, you're doing deep throat now?
Deep throat 9.
Hence the honey is the lubrication. Yeah. All right.
Deep throat 9.
Deep Throat 9, the TV show. Star Trek. All right. Anyway,
remember our Did that ever get uploaded?
No. I'm sitting on that for the moment.
Secret. That was blackmail.
I haven't even watched it yet. I'm like,
Let's film the second one before we watch the first one, or else you might never let me interview you. We have an upcoming secret podcast project. We don't know if
I interviewed him and I kind of blindsided him with the questions. Like,
oh, just wait until my questions.
Anyway, so the Doctor and Romana then teleport out. They get down to the planet. In the meantime, the Marshal, Princess Astra has gone around to different wards. She is talking to Merrick, and then the Marshal has her escort take her to a highly irradiated zone and lock her in, so she'll die. I'm guessing that he's going to get her out of the way, and once he has her out of the way, he'll have absolute power, and at the same time possibly use her death at the hand of Zeons to further his cause for the fight, to rally the people. I mean, it just makes sense. Also, I think he was told by the Crystal Skull to do it, you know?
Did the Crystal Skull remind you of the Master and the Deadly Assassin with his...
A bit, yeah,
like
a bit.
face?
Same for the Shadow. Same for the Shadow.
The villains are so gross and they're hard to look at.
Yeah, the Shadow has got this whole.
He kind of looks like a goitered reptilian kind
of. Phantom of the Opera.
No,
he's got the little pig nose thing here.
Phantom of the Opera's pretty. He's a supermodel with like a white mask over his head.
He was a little short guy from the producers.
Did they make more than one Phantom of the Opera? I don't think we're talking about this.
You're talking about the guy who played him on Broadway.
I'm talking about the movie.
You remember the movie The Producers?
The what?
The Producers.
The movie The Producers?
Yes.
Remind me. Did we watch that?
Zero Mostel and
names don't
Gene
know
Wilder.
I know Gene Wilder.
Yeah, okay. Zero Mostel, Gene Wilder. It's a musical. You know, springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Did we watch that?
Have you seen this?
Oh, I don't think so.
Put it on the list.
I thought you were referencing a movie we already watched on the list.
I'm not 100% sure. I've been drinking.
I don't think it's on the list.
Put it on the list. The original Producers. Anyway, there's a little short guy in that, and who's a drunk.
I'm in this movie?
No, you're not short. I'm not short. Little 5'4", 5'5".
Hey, average.
And he's actually the Phantom in the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
The Broadway play, which we ran forever.
You're making an astounding amount of references, and I don't understand a single one.
Okay.
You're like, do you know this? I'm like, no. It's a lot like this other thing you don't know.
The Producers, 1968.
Producer.
It may have been 67 or 69, but it's right there, 1968. As opposed to the... So, they did the original movie, and then later on, it's a Mel Brooks film.
I like Mel Brooks.
Okay.
Quit setting our houses on fire, Mel Brooks.
Then later on, Mel Brooks did a Broadway play of it, right? When he added more music. And then they made a movie based off the Broadway play. So there's a movie based off a play based off the movie.
That's okay. I don't like that.
And the modern rendition, the movie based off the play based off the movie, has Nathan Lane
I'm not sober enough for this conversation.
Okay. And Matthew Broderick. Oh,
I like Matthew Broderick.
And Uma Thurman.
I like all those people.
Uma. Just saying her name, put your lips in perfect kissing position. Uma.
And Kill Bill Volume 2 is your favorite movie? Or?
No, I've never seen it.
Never?
No, I saw about half an hour of Volume 1. I told you about that, right?
Did you get to the scene with the clowns? And
Okay,
the
okay.
sword?
No. Okay, so Alyssa keeps telling me, you gotta see this movie, I'm like, I don't like Quentin Tarantino. You gotta see it.
You don't like Quentin Tarantino?
No.
Get out of it.
Anyway, so she's like, this movie's funny, you'll like it.
I'm gonna make a movie list for you.
Okay, so she puts in the movie, and we're watching the movie, and I'm laughing. I'm like, this is actually funny. I'm laughing. She turns off the movie half an hour in. I'm like, why'd you do that? She said, you're laughing in all the wrong places. What?
So you liked it?
Well, I liked it, what I saw, but apparently I wasn't laughing with the movie. I was laughing at the movie or something.
Well, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. It was a really good bad movie.
You watched Django Unchained?
No.
Oh, fantastic film.
I have seen
you don't like
2.5 of his movies.
Quentin Tarantino because you haven't seen his good one. What's the other 2 that you've seen?
Okay, I saw Pulp Fiction.
Great movie.
No.
Yeah.
I saw Reservoir Dogs.
Also great.
No. And I saw like half an hour of Kill Bill Volume 1.
Great movie.
No, he's language and violence for the sake of language and violence, and I'm not a fan.
You like whatever that other movie. The one that you say is better than Pulp Fiction. The
Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers. That's just shock value in a.
And I showed you that, right?
Yeah.
Like Quentin Tarantino wrote the screenplay, but it was directed by.
So you like Quentin
by another guy? No.
I'm going to show you Django Unchained.
No.
Great movie. I love it.
Okay, no, but it was directed by somebody else. But Liz is out there yelling the name.
Stone.
Oliver Stone. Okay. But it's so much better with Oliver Stone's direction, editing, just characterization is just fantastic. The cinematography in that movie is amazing. It's dark as hell, but the cinematography is great.
I'm gonna show you some Quentin Tarantino movies. They are violent, but they're good.
I'm good. The best work he ever did was his.
You only saw 2 of his movies.
Was his cameo in one of the Wizard of Oz movies. There's a Muppets Wizard of Oz in which Quentin Tarantino does a cameo, and he actually doesn't curse because it's a Muppet movie, and I couldn't believe it. I literally was like,
that's kind of like putting who's the little guy in Goodfellas?
oh, the guy from Home Alone.
Yeah. And then they put this gangster mafia movie actor in this children's film, and then kept telling him you can't curse in Home Alone. So he goes, because he kept like dropping F-bombs while they're filming. They're like, you can't say that.
What? Why can't I say that?
This is a family film. He's like, I get so frustrated. He's like, this is how I act. I act. Like, you can't swear.
Oh my gosh.
So when he's frustrated in Home Alone, he goes, Wet
Bandits, right?
Wet Bandits.
He was in 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag.
Also a great movie.
A weird movie.
And my cousin uncle,
Vinny.
my cousin Vinny.
Yeah. Alright.
Great movie.
Weird movie. Casino. Casino was a good movie with him.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's not worth putting on the list. I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not all that in a bag of chips. Alright, so anyway. Okay, first episode. They land on the planet. The Marshal shoots the guard who follows orders and puts the princess in the radiated zone that'll kill her.
Because no one could know that he followed those orders.
Correct. This is why you don't follow orders that you know are wrong, okay?
I was supposed to kill the bus driver.
Yeah,
Dark Knight.
exactly. So anyway, so he kills that guy. The Doctor and Mana show up in the TARDIS. They come out along with K9. They realize they're following the Tracer. The Tracer is leading them to the door behind which the princess is a prisoner, and he has K9 make a little hole in the door. He looks through, and the Princess Astra, a glory hole, yeah.
Peep show.
And the Princess Astra's like, "Help me, please help me."
Death count on Genesis.
What?
The death count on Genesis of the Daleks.
Oh, jeez Louise. That was all the Mutos who died falling from the scaffolding, yeah. So anyway, the Doctor then tries to free the princess. However, in the meantime, the Marshal's shown back up.
She keeps saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope."
Close.
Yeah, wrong movie.
Right. The Doctor and Mana get captured by the Marshal. They have to go with him because he blames them for the death of the guard who's down there, whom the Marshal was the one who killed.
He frames it.
Yeah, he frames him basically. So they go with him to the command center. There's like 5 rooms in this serial. You've got the command center on Astra. Astros. You have the main room with the torture device on the 3rd planet. You speak a lie and I'll zap you. You have the torture, the torture chamber where Astra is chained up.
Yeah.
You have the main Drax's room, and then you have the computer room where the commander is on Zeus.
You have the irradiated Sector 8 with
the rest is all corridors. And a transmat. I mean...
Well, it's a room.
Yeah, true. But I mean, there's basically like... Oh, and you've got the ships. You have the command ship up on the escape pod. The command ship. I love that.
Command module.
Command module. And yeah, but there's very, very few places. And of course you have the TARDIS. So anyway,
it's bigger than it looks.
The Doctor and Mana go with him. The Doctor basically plays off the Marshal as a fool, which he is. He gets Shap to blow into the whistle to summon K9.
Twice.
Yeah. So Shap blows in the whistle. K9 comes, and the Doctor's like, "Well, look, you're treating us horribly. You're going to execute us. You're saying we've committed crimes we didn't commit.
Death with no evidence.
Yeah. You're condemning us with no trial.
Never offered us a cup of tea.
That's a different cereal. No, I don't think there's gonna be any tea.
I don't think there's gonna be any tea.
So, just a Long Island iced tea. There you go. Cheers. Hey, you get your Smirnoff.
Smirnoff.
So, the Doctor uses K9 to blow out the lights. And the Doctor and Mana run. In the meantime, Merrick was brought in, and he runs with them.
And their lily white hands.
Right. Merrick runs with Doctor and Mana.
Wrong page.
Okay, they go to the place where Princess Astra was, and they try to get to the TARDIS, but the TARDIS has been blocked off by bombardment. And it's not even there, actually.
It's been under a collapse, but it's actually missing.
Yeah, and that's the end of episode 1, right?
The plot
thickens.
Tickles.
It's a reference to Cerebus, the aardvark.
Bad movie?
No, it's a comic book.
Oh.
There was an issue where it says the plot thicks, or wait, maybe that was. The Tick.
Love The Tick.
There was a comic book
sounds
originally.
like a tick.
Yeah, it was probably The Tick. was a comic book, The Plot Thickens, and there was another issue, The Night of a Million Zillion Ninjas, which is wrong because ninja is already plural.
Million.
Zillion ninja. Ninja is both singular and plural, like deer. Ninjas is incorrect grammatically.
I don't think I've ever heard a single person say ninja as a plural.
It's correct.
Who said? Prove it.
Prove it? Would you care to make a wager?
I'm tempted to.
You let me know. Ninja is both the singular and the plural.
Ninja.
No, ninja. Anyway, so so that's the end of episode 1, right?
Ninja.
No, ninja.
That sounds like this. Yes, and episode 1 was...
Okay, did you want to hold all questions to the end, or do you want to do episode by episode?
Boy, that'll be an orgy of questions.
This is what we call an orgy of evidence. Do you know how many times I've ever seen an orgy of evidence? How many? None. You know the movie?
0! I don't.
Minority Report.
Oh, love it.
Exactly. Great movie.
We thought the little glove computer thing was so cool as kids.
It was.
Oh,
It was.
Future. It's still cool.
It is. It is.
I want one.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that these people travel through time, isn't it a terrible coincidence that they arrived at the time of the climax of the... Why didn't they just arrive at the beginning of the war 5 years
Well, I think
before?
Okay, first of all...
How come they always just happen to land in the same timeline of these
I think they're traveling around in space, but I don't think they're changing time while they're traveling to collect the pieces.
Why on earth not?
Because they have to get the pieces as soon as possible. And rather than move backwards in time to where the pieces might not be obtainable, because then the White Guardian wouldn't ask them to because the pieces are already taken. They have to go in a linear time frame, right? Okay, if they go to the past and he says you need these 6 pieces.
Yes.
Okay, so if they go look for a piece, but they've already taken that piece, the tracer won't find that piece because they've already taken it. So they have to go.
No,
get
the first
pieces
time they
in a
take
linear
it is
fashion.
in the past.
Right. Okay. So if you're looking for something, let's say you're looking for the Smirnoff Ice.
Yes.
And you already went back in time, found that Smirnoff Ice, and drank it, then you're never going to find that Smirnoff Ice.
No, because I've already found it in the past.
And drank it, right.
So I'm not looking for it in the future.
Right, no, but then you
Why
can't
would I-
look for it. But they're looking for it, and they have to go in linear order.
That doesn't make any sense. It's like, I did my laundry on Tuesday, which means I can't do it on Wednesday. But I won't need to do my laundry on Wednesday because it's already done the day before.
But you're looking for something specifically. And you
I'm
have
not looking to do my laundry on Wednesday if I already went back in time and did it on Tuesday. It doesn't make any sense.
Hold on. Just listen to me. It's not you're doing something, you're finding something. Okay?
I'm finding my laundry on Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
No. Okay, so let's say you're looking.
So this sock is a segment of the key of time,
Okay.
right? But I am the shadow. I'm already wearing the sock. Well, how about I go back in time to where the sock was still in my drawer? And it's not like when I go to confront the Guardian, it's like, oh no, the sock's already gone because I already have it. I went back
But
in
you
time.
don't know you already have it because
I do know I already have it. I'm
No.
one person that
no, because you'll have it in the future, but you're looking
I'll
for
have
it
it
now.
in the past. I will have it in the past.
I think you're missing part of the time travel thing.
You're missing part of the time travel thing.
Okay. So let's say I tell you absolutely have to find something. Your life depends on it, right?
Okay, what is it? What am I
Let's say it's an antidote.
An antidote.
Right. You're poisoned, and here's an antidote, and you have to find it within 2 hours.
Alright, I travel back in time. I'm not poisoned. I don't need
No,
the
you're
antidote.
still poisoned. You are still poisoned. You travel back then, you're
Okay.
still poisoned.
Alright, so I'm
But
looking for this
you're
antidote.
looking for this antidote. You go back.
How long do I have to live, Doc? How long have I been
2
poisoned?
hours.
2 hours
You
to
have
live?
2 hours to live,
I was poisoned right now?
and you have 2 hours to live.
Okay.
Okay, so you're poisoned.
Yes.
And I tell you, here's a device to find the antidote. It will take
Very
you
helpful.
to the antidote, right?
All right.
So you're looking for the antidote.
I'm looking for the antidote. How long does it take me to track down the antidote?
Well, hopefully less than 2 hours.
Hopefully.
But let's say you decide to go back in time, right?
Let's say I look for the antidote for an hour, right? I only have an hour to live, but I found it. I traveled back in time an hour. Now I have 2 hours to live, and I have the antidote.
No. Just because you travel back in time does not mean your body has not suffered the ravages of an hour of poison.
Okay.
You still
They're
have an hour
not
to live.
poison, though. It doesn't. It doesn't relate.
Okay.
So let's do the key of times.
Okay, they're working linearly in current time. They're not going back.
There's no reason.
Okay, they're working linearly in current time.
The pieces aren't moving.
Yeah, they are.
See, spot it. What? No, they're not. They've been hiding. They're in hiding.
Well, they have been hiding, but obviously
It's been a step.
some of the pieces are moving.
The organic ones, sure, but they're
not. No, the planet. Remember, the entire planet was a piece. The one that got condensed down with the pirate planet.
Well, if they traveled back in time, it would have been condensed down.
No, then they would have zapped it. All the people would have disappeared.
Well, they're gonna disappear anyway.
Yeah, but the doctor doesn't kill them. The stupid pirate guy with the bird kills them.
Doesn't matter. Time's relative.
No.
It's gonna happen anyway.
No.
Yeah.
That goes back to would you kill baby Hitler kind of stuff.
Yes.
I agree.
So you would travel back in time and take the key segment, there's the planet, killing the people, because the people are already going to die in the fixed timeline, and we have to have that key of segment to save all the other people in the cosmos.
Did you watch the entire serial? Alright, have you seen the movie Predestination?
I don't believe in predestination.
Have you seen the movie?
No. I don't believe in the concept of predestination. I'm running there.
Alright, have you read the story All You Zombies?
No.
Okay.
I can't read, Hatter. How many
The
times
movie Predestination is based off the story All You Zombies by Heinlein, I believe. Great story, great movie.
Premature zombie movie.
Predestination. What do you mean you don't believe in predestination?
Concept doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. In what way?
Phallic.
In what way?
All right, so let's make sure we have the same definition. So, what's your definition? So, my definition, as it's been explained to me, is the theory of predestination is free will doesn't exist, because if someone is, if time is linear, right? So for example, let's say there's an omniscient being,
God, yeah.
yeah, and he knows everything you're going to do in life, right?
Correct.
This is
absolutely everything, yeah.
Everything.
Because he exists in all time.
He knows what you're going to do,
right,
before you do it.
Right.
People argue that means you have no free will.
No.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, you have free will.
Yes.
But he already knows what you're going to choose.
Yes.
Because he exists in all time. So
what's your definition of predestination?
Predestination is that when they say
people are Oh, okay. I'm confusing two different things. So
when they say that you're predestined to go, say, to heaven or hell or wherever, it's not that God said you will go there, so you have no free will. You've got to get there. It's because he already knew every choice you were going to make. So God sits back and goes, okay, hold it. You're going to heaven. I know you're going to heaven. Not because you have no free will, but because I already know all the choices you're going to make. You know, I knew all the hairs on your head before you were born. I know everything about you. I know how you're going to live. I know how you're going to die. I know where you're going. So you are destined to go there. Not because of God, not because of lack of free will, but because of what you do in life.
You're saying predestined is just destiny.
It's essentially destiny, but God knows it beforehand.
Destiny is just reality, basically. It's what's going to happen.
And destiny is the end result of reality. It's what's going to happen ultimately.
Yeah. People use that to argue that there's no free will, and I disagree with that.
Right. No, there is free will. We were given free will very specifically so that we can choose to worship God.
That's the part that I disagree with.
And
is the lack of free will because of predestination.
Oddly enough, destiny actually comes into play in the 6th episode of the serial.
It came into play this episode.
In episode 1?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Serial Snimmer.
No. In this serial, in episode 6, it actually comes into play.
Destiny.
This is my destiny, Princess Astra says. Alright, anyway, so...
I don't get the 666 allegory, though.
She's the 6th daughter. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, spoilers.
So,
Alright, do you want spoilers? You want to tell them?
We still have my questions for episode.
Your questions.
I think it's ninjas.
Would you care to place a wager, sir? No. Okay. You're not sure enough because you're wrong.
Big blind, small blind. 5 cents. I'll call you another nickel. I'll pay 10 cents to see your card.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh, that was my only question. Was I wrote down here, argue with Hatter about time travel.
It's not really a question, but okay.
My question was why do they choose to stay in a fixed timeline when they have the ultimate power of time travel, which makes every conflict seem irrelevant because they could just preeminate the conflict that they're currently in by traveling back in time.
Hey, that is very, very, very lazy writing. Okay. No. To travel back in time to fix the conflict before it starts is incredibly lazy writing.
No, the lazy writing is not...
Listen to me, Chibnall. It's lazy writing.
The lazy writing is not writing in the explanation for why they can't just travel back in time.
No.
That's what's...
Okay, so in the modern series, not Flux, Series 13, but Series 12, the first 2 episodes are called Spyfall Part 1 and Spyfall Part 2.
Skyfall? James Bond?
Spyfall. It's almost a parody of Skyfall.
Fall into.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very James Bondish. They really make fun of that whole MI6 trope.
It's like a Kingsman, like a parody.
Well, Kingsman is more of
a satire.
Kingsman is a little more of a derivative as opposed to a satire.
The first one was a satire. The sequel was derivative of a satire.
And the third one was just wonky.
I didn't watch the third one. The second one killed. I love the first one. I thought it was a great satire of the whole super spy genre. And then the second one was just self-aware nonsense that I hated.
It was fun.
It was terrible.
But the first one was so good.
The first one was great.
If you save the world, I will let you do me up the ass. Hey, I'm going to go save the world. So I can do a Danish princess. Yeah, I'll be right back.
And they were girlfriend and boyfriend.
Alright, so...
Episode 2.
Wait, hold on. So Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2. Mm-hmm. You remember, on this podcast, I told you the first episode of Series 12 was actually pretty decent. Which is Spyfall Part 1.
I do remember that.
Except for one specific line I didn't like.
What's that? Are you going to get us in trouble on YouTube?
No.
Stating an opinion that's...
No, there's a line where the main guy in MI6 goes, he looks at one of the Doctor's companions, Graham, and he goes, "Hello, Doctor." And he goes, "I'm not the Doctor," and he points at Whittaker, the 13th Doctor, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, "She's the Doctor." He goes, "No, I've read all the files. The Doctor is a man." And he goes...
Which is a logical presumption.
Right, because all the files say that. Yeah. And she goes, "No, I've had an upgrade." As if, man is lesser than woman, right?
It's sexist.
It's such a woke line. Anyway, and I said that one was completely offset by the great line when they were kidnapped, "Worst Uber ever," which was a fantastic line. Anyway, the second episode, Spyfall Part 2, unfortunately, is a letdown to...
Good build-up.
Right, and then a letdown. Okay. part of the letdown for Spyfall Part 2 is they use that exact trope. They do the thing where, oh, you're about to destroy the world. You think it's going to go to a third part, right?
Yeah.
No, I went back in time and undid what you did previously in the past, so it won't work now.
Yes.
And it's such lazy writing. It's
so lazy writing.
I mean, it's so. I'm going to use the time machine to get us out of this. It's like it's as lazy as you can be while writing Doctor Who.
No. It's so the stupid. Second laziest you could be. It is lazy writing. It's not as lazy as not explaining why they can't go back in time and do it.
No, disagree.
Because it's just pretending that that possibility doesn't exist, even though the entire show is about traveling through time to fix things.
Sometimes.
And they never explain why they can't travel back in time. That's lazy until they do it. And that's also lazy.
No, the problem is that, and this is explained later on, some places and times, fixed points, and quantum locks. You cannot, and in certain times and places are so messed up that the TARDIS can't get back there. We'll see one in New York City in the 1930s later on.
My high school experience.
Alright, episode 2.
Episode 2.
God, it's going to be a long-ass podcast.
Did I tell you about my first college party, alcohol being involved?
Okay.
My first drinking party. I was going to this party with my friend. So we...
You were 18?
No, I was 21.
Okay, so you were legal.
I was a good boy.
That's at least good.
I technically had my first beer when I was a few months shy of 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my birthday, I turned 21, and I was like, I can buy a beer now legally. So I went into a gas station and I bought a beer, and then they made a sarcastic remark about how I'm 21. And then I bought it. I'm like, I'm official. I can buy alcohol. I don't like beer though, and I threw it away, which was very wasteful. I just wanted the experience of buying my first beer legally. But then a few months later, I go to my first alcohol party. So this is really my first experience being drunk. And so we're waiting for the party because it's later. So we go to buy some alcohol, and we're just hanging out waiting to go to the party because we don't want to show up early. So we decide to do a little bit of pre-gaming. A little bit of pre-game. So I drank an entire 6-pack of Smirnoff green apple ales. Don't feel anything. I don't feel tipsy at all, but we're just bored and hanging out, listening to music. I'm peeling stickers off and sticking them to my chest. And it's time for us to go to the party, so we're sitting in the car, and we see my friend's dad come out of the house, and he comes up and to the window, and we roll down the window. It's like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, good, how are you guys doing? You guys going to the party? And we're like, yeah. He's like, well, be safe. And we're like, oh, yes, sir. And he walks away, and I turn to my friend, and I go, you think he knows that we've been drinking? And he looks at me, and he looks at the Smirnoff stickers that I have on. He's like, I think he does. I think he knows we've been drinking. I'm like,
crap. You did it, man.
I'm like that statement of be safe seemed pointed. Do you think he knows we're planning on getting drunk? And he's like, I think he knows. I'm like, okay. That makes sense.
Oh, all right.
On that note, episode 2.
Episode 2. Okay.
Check.
Wait, where are you going?
Check.
Oh, you're going to check. Okay, so episode 2, the Doctor and Romana get K9 and Merrick, because Merrick ran after them because his head was on the chopping block too, because he was accused of being a traitor because Marshall thought that he was working with the Doctor and Romana, or at least that's what he says. And so Merrick's like, well, do you know what Princess Astra is? And they're like, well, there was a young lady by the tone of her voice behind this door whom we talked to earlier. And Merrick's like, And Dr. Mom's like, well, why do you want to know, by the way? And he's like, well, I love her. And they're like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. Fair. So yeah, Merrick and Princess Astra are lovers. You get the feeling they get married eventually. Yada yada yada. They're probably just not wanting to do it as of yet during wartime, or what have you. But anyway.
Also, they're conspiring against their government.
well, they're conspiring against the Marshal, trying to sue for peace with Zoas. Zeos. Anyway, so
they say Zeos, we say Zeos.
Zeos. All right. So, in the meantime,
they say zero, we say zero.
In the meantime, the Princess Astra is passed out on the other side of the door.
Zed.
Instead of Z, they say the Z. Yeah. This actually comes up during the Sixth Doctor with
European and American differences.
Yeah, she's supposed to be American. She's a British actress, but she's supposed to be American. Mm-hmm. And he asks her to read out something. She says Z. He goes, Z? What means? Oh, you mean Zed? And he's like, yeah, he's a bit of a Hanyok.
Try a bit of. Well, I forget German. You see that movie?
Which movie?
Where he's so I don't even know what movie it is. Try be a bit. He's undercover as a Nazi soldier, and he's trying to get information. He's in this bar with Nazis, and he knows German, perfect accent, hanging out in the bar. They're all having a good time, and then he makes the grand mistake of ordering 3 beers, and she said, "They're on to us." He's like, "How?" She says, "Germans don't say 3, they say 3." He gave himself away as an American by holding up 3 fingers. Germans count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's like in China.
Yeah.
China, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you order 2, this is 6. 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's like sign language.
Well, it's so they could have their armful with whatever they were buying that day,
mm-hmm.
and make all those signals with one hand. So the 9 and the 10. There you go.
So Americans say 3. However, American Sign Language says 3.
So American Sign Language is German.
Apparently, American is English is Germanic.
It's a Germanic-based language with lots of Latin roots, and it draws from pretty much almost every other language in the world. We've got a very bastardized language.
Say that
but
again.
That's fine. It works. It works.
Old melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
America.
Exactly. All right.
Diversity. Love it. Get all the best food that way.
American food. I agree.
American food is just the best of every other country's food. You get some pizza, and tacos, big old melting pot, all the best stuff.
Lasagna. Oh my gosh. Okay.
A lot of Italian. We're like one from this country, a lot from Italy. We want all that pasta.
Well, we have French and English and German and
French fries.
Everything, yeah.
Except we take all of that. And then we deep fry it. It's like a whole bunch of sugar in it. More sodium.
Yeah. So, some masked villain, the Mutes, alright, he comes and he takes away Princess Astra. Huh? What?
We're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, at the rate you're going.
The rate you're going. Chop chop.
Yeah. Takes away Princess Astra.
So
into a transmat.
Let's skip the recap. Let's get to the good stuff. Bless you.
Thank you. In the transmat room. The transmat room takes Princess Astra, not to Zeos as originally thought, but turns out to the 3rd planet, which is that satellite between the 2 planets that was blocking it from the sun, blocking them from seeing each other. That's where we meet the character, the Shadow. The Shadow is this guy. He's got a sort of a pig face and a pig nose, and he has a mask down to here, and the nose he has is like this, little short pig nose, and the mask does the exact same thing, right?
Well, the
Yeah,
mask
kinda
is the
pulls it
pig
out.
nose. I don't think we ever see his real nose.
You see parts of it, and you see it under the mask, and the mask goes to here and kind of helps pull up his nose, make it look like a pig nose. But he's just.
And then under the mask, his skin just looks like a trash bag.
Well, he seems like he's wearing a stocking on his head. And the stocking has runs in it, actually.
I feel like they change his mask every single episode because it was like completely covered with pantyhose liner. And then there's like a split in the pantyhose liner the next episode, so it gets... And then there's like no pantyhose, and it's just like gross, goitery, reptilian skin. It's nasty to look at.
Anyway, generally speaking, he's the main protagonist. He apparently has been waiting thousands and thousands of years, and antagonist. He's been waiting like all of eternity, the entire history of the universe or whatever.
There's a protagonist and antagonist.
Thank you. Alright. He's been waiting apparently...
Pro's good.
Yeah.
Antagonist is bad. I hate antagonists. Protagonist.
If pro's the opposite of con, what's the opposite of progress?
Congress.
Exactly. Alright, so apparently this guy's been waiting the entire history of time, trying to get a hold of the key of time because he supposedly works for the Black Guardian, which turns out to be the case. So he has...
If quizzes are quizzical, what are tests?
Yeah. Alright.
Testicle.
Testicles.
Balls.
So anyway, he's trying to... he's found the 6th part of the key of time, while the Doctor and Romana are running around for the other 5 parts, and he's trying to get the Doctor to give him the other 5 parts, so that he can have all 6. And he's working for the Black Guardian. He's the main bad guy. The Marshal is just a military-minded idiot.
What's the one from A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Foreman?
What's the what?
The name. Is it funny when I say... Biggest Dickus.
Biggest Dickus. And that is from Monty Python's The Life of Brian. The Life of Brian.
Oh, I thought it was A Funny Thing Happened.
No, that's Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
I got the 2 movies confused. It's not the guy with the ring and running all day.
No. That's a funny thing that happened on the way to the Forum.
Yeah.
But Biggest Dickus
was him.
is from Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. Does it tickle you fancy when I say the name Biggest Dickus?
What was his wife's name?
He has a wife, you know. Incontinentia. Incontinentia buttocks. You know the guards in that scene, the actors, were told if they cracked up, they wouldn't get paid. So they're doing their best not to crack up, and he cracks them up, and they fell over laughing.
Well, that's great.
It's fantastic. That's why they tried so hard not to crack up.
Did they get paid?
They probably got paid in the end, yeah. But it's just a great story.
It would have been even funnier if he's like, no, pay for it.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, the Doctor and Romana, with K9's help, managed to get into the room where the transmat was. The Doctor and Romana, the K9's like, you can't stay here. Radiation, bad. So the Doctor's like, okay, K9, we'll leave. You stay here and keep an eye on that wall, because she had to have gone somewhere, you know? So K9 keeps an eye on the wall. They head back, they go talk to the Marshal. They're like, well, we can't leave, let's talk to the Marshal. And the Marshal now greets them as friends.
Well, yeah.
The Marshal's like, don't rough them up, no violence, no malevolence, treat them politely. And they get greeted in, and the Marshal's like, Doctor, you're the one. You're the one who are going to lead us all into victory. He's been told this by the skull on the other side of the mirror. Doctor's like, wait, the last time I was here, you wanted to kill me. And he's like, well, that's a misunderstanding.
If I get you one of those steam comb straightening beards, would you use it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a comb for your beard, and it's like a hair straightener. It kind of combs through. It makes it very soft and luxurious. I think it like steams it. It goes.
It's already soft and luxurious.
I mean, it's like a. Do you like it curly? You ever see your beard straight? Do you wonder what it'd be like if you straightened your beard?
It's good. I like it.
Just like a. So you wouldn't use it if I got you one of the straightening combs?
I don't know, but I like it the way it is. Yeah. So, doctor's like, really? He's like, yeah, you're gonna lose the victory. And the doctor's like, well, I'll think of something.
You like it the way it is, but you're gonna get it braided.
Yeah, one of the reasons I've been growing it out is so at Renfair they can braid it.
Yeah. So you would straighten it?
I'll braid it.
So you like it the way it is, but you'll change it. Would you change
for
it
a day?
A day? Well, you just straighten it for a day. It's easier to braid straightened hair than it is curly hair. So what if we straighten it before you get it braided?
If you buy me the thing, I will try it and see if I like it. But, you know. Alright.
I already know the answer. Hatter's a curmudgeon. Will you like this new thing? No. You know,
I just told you I would try it. Yeah.
You'll try it and you'll hate it.
I come around to good ideas eventually. It does take me time. It does take me a good bit of time. Because you're right, I am slow to change.
You straighten it and they will come.
You've seen that movie, right? Field of Dreams?
I'm quoting you, quoting Field of Dreams. They will come.
I don't want to add another movie to the list tonight, although that is a
I have
good
seen
movie.
Field of Dreams.
Okay, good.
I'm still quoting you, quoting it.
I'm quoting you, quoting this, quoting that.
Build it, and build it, and they will come. Field of Dreams. Hatter.
That's the one that had Darth Vader in it.
Yeah. Daggum.
All right.
It'll come to me.
Okay, so
James Earl Jones.
Correct. He was the voice of Darth Vader, and he's in that movie.
Amazing voice.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of which, the Marshal in this has a great voice. I like the Marshal's voice.
I also like Astra's voice.
Yeah, she has a great voice.
I also like Romana. Romana.
Yeah, it's okay. Romana 1.
I feel like they really had a great stride in the serial.
Yes.
It's a good serial for a last serial.
It's
because usually they kind of bicker, and the doctor, she would make suggestions, and she would be correct, and then the doctor would be kind of defensive, and now they're at the point in their relationship to where she'll make a suggestion, and he'll accept it, and he'll be like, I think I will do that, and they'll add on to it and make it better. So she's like, let's do this, and he goes, yes, I'm going to do this and this. And she goes, yes. So they're kind of
they're finally gelling.
Yeah,
and once we get to Romana 2, they very much gel. In fact, Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, marries the actress who plays Romana 2
and then they
in
have
real life.
Little curly-haired, big teeth.
I don't know if they had any kids.
Baby Bakers running around.
I don't know if they had any kids.
They have a baker's dozen, just curly and scarves.
Don't know if they had any kids. Anyway, but they got married in real life.
Running around with
And Romana 2, I had such a crush on her. Oh my gosh. Such a crush on her. Anyway, I was a kid and she was like the perfect French build, you know?
You think she's more attractive than Leela?
Yeah.
And Romana 1?
Yeah. Yeah, leave the ward wherever you are. I wish you would have shown yourself at the end of Shada. I would like to see what you look like now, but I'm glad for what you look like then.
You're going to find out.
No.
There's this thing called Google.
No, I'm good. I mean, I kind of like to, but I kind of wouldn't actually too.
But dreams.
Yeah.
Rose.
Shatter all that. Anyway.
Never meet your hero.
Okay. So anyway, the Doctor and Romana.
I met Batman.
Which one?
He threw a battering at me. So.
Wait, which Batman?
The Dark Knight. Never mind. It's a joke. You ruined
it. Okay. I'm like, which Batman? I'd like to meet Adam West. He's my favorite.
Oh, it's a bomb.
So anyway, K9 gets lured into a shaft, which will lead to him being melted down for scrap metal. The Doctor is trying to help the Marshal
come up with a deterrent for the Zeons.
Right, come up with some sort of force field to block the Zeons. The Doctor's like, we can do a psychological one. So I need to talk to a Zeon. In the meantime, the Doctor's figured out that Astra's on Zeon because she shows up and tells all the people of
how she's been captured. She's a prisoner of war.
What's the planet?
Astrios.
Astrios. She tells the people, hey Astrios, surrender, the war's over, help save my life, yada yada yada.
Except she's not really on Zeos. She's on the third
planet.
Right,
she's on the third planet. But Dr. Fisher, she's on Zeos. He's trying to help the Marshal so that he can save everybody. And he's like, I need my computer. And the Marshal's like, what? The K9, my computer. He's like, oh, and he asks Shap. He's like, hey Shap. So like, it's too late. And the Doctor's like, what? He's being turned into scrap. So the Doctor runs and he goes down the shaft and he barely saves K9. His K9's already been dumped into the moltenness. But he saves K9, comes out. And that could have been the end of an episode, but it wasn't. That was like mid-episode cliffhanger.
Very dramatic.
Very dramatic. And it's not usual that K9 is on the chopping block.
I was convinced that we were going to lose K9 this episode, and we are going to have to get like a K9 2.0, but we didn't. Which is the K9 that he sends to Sarah Jane Smith? Is that the first K9? Because there's more than one K9, right?
That's 2.0.
Oh, he sends 2.0 to her?
Yeah.
Looks exactly like 1.0.
Yes. Okay, so eventually Romana leaves the Doctor during his 7th season, Tom Baker.
The second one leaves him.
Right, Romana 2 leaves Tom Baker in his 7th season. And K9 goes with her. No, wait. No, this is 2.0.
What happened to
right?
1.0? No.
Stayed with Leela. 1.0 stayed with Leela, remember? Because they were both talking when the Doctor left, and she's like, well, what's he going to do? He'll be okay. And they both lowered their heads at the same time, remember?
Leela. So he built a second K9?
Right, and then he pulls out K9 2.0. You remember that?
Yeah, how could I forget?
Okay, so anyway.
How could I forget?
So this is 1.0 stays with Leela.
Okay.
2.0 leaves with Romana. 3.0 is the one he sends to Sarah Jane and the Sarah Jane K9 and Company.
So all three of them look the same? Like he never gets a redesign?
Okay, all of them look the same until
4.0?
K9 and Company, which K9 and Company till the TV show K9, which was not done by the BBC, which was an Australian production, in which K9 actually, he starts out looking like he does, then he regenerates into this like floating K9 thing.
He regenerates? They can do that? Is he a Time Lord robot?
No, they can't. He doesn't. But it's a third-party production.
Oh, it's not canon.
It's
K9 canon, but not Doctor Who canon.
If you want, because the guy who owned the rights to K9
it has his own
ferreted that out to the Australian, the ACC.
That means
we'll watch it eventually, and we'll put
K9 can regenerate. K9 is a Tang Lord.
No.
Canon.
No.
Canon.
No.
Is K9 canon?
No.
It's not Doctor Who canon, but it's K9 canon.
We will. Once again, you and I still need to do the Apocrypha for the 2 movies, 1960s Peter Cushing movies.
We watched them, but we're going to
rewatch
them?
We need to rewatch them and do episodes for them for the Apocrypha channel, for the Apocrypha line. Oh. And we need to do the not third party. We'll do third party later. We'll leave the third party in the Apocrypha, but we need to do the spin-offs line, which the very first episode will be Sarah Jane Adventures.
What do we do? The toy line and the clothing line.
But we'll probably do all 3 of these once we finish Tom Baker, because that's when we're going to have to rewatch K9 and Company. Sound good?
But those are separate podcasts? Like, we're still keeping the
Well, we
Doctor
talked about
Who
this previously.
numbered episodes with
Right.
serial
So you have
numbers?
Drunk Doctor Who, you have Heroes and Villains, and then we'll have spin-offs, and we'll have Apocrypha.
Right. I always argued that the podcast episode should stay numbered consistent with the serial episode.
Which is what we're doing.
Yeah, you said no like 3 times, and I never argued, and then all of a sudden you're like, "This is the plan." you did a Doctor Who with the Doctor.
Maybe, yeah. But no. This has always been the same, along with the number of everything.
Yeah.
And we've got the Heroes and Villains, and like I said, then we'll do the spin-offs, which includes K9 and Company, and the Apocrypha, which includes the Peter Cushing movies. And we're watching everything more or less in order. And
Used to, you wanted to watch everything in order on the one podcast, so the episode number would diverge from the serial numbers. I didn't like that.
I don't remember that. I honestly don't think that's correct, but I'm not willing to wager on it because I've been drinking, and I may not remember everything for every podcast.
I'm gonna say that again. I don't either.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I didn't even remember this as K9 2.0.
Correct, because 1.0 stay with Leela. All right.
So episode 4.
Wait. No, we're still in 2. The Doctor runs back. He's got K9. They're like, he's not even singed. Marshall's like, he doesn't need to die. Not yet. He was talking about the stupid skull thing.
And then episode 5.
No. Okay, where does episode 2 end?
Thanks for watching. The Doctor gets abducted because he walks into an ambush.
Oh yeah.
Which he knew was an ambush. This one of us is very stupid.
Being a fool.
Affirmative,
yeah. So the Doctor's looking for. Okay, the Doctor convinces the Marshal he needs to go to Xeon to get a Zeos to get a Xeon, so he can make the psychological barrier. And the Marshal's like, well, okay, fine, go do that. Here's the transmat beam. Here's the one place on our planet. You can get to the one place on the other planet from there. And the Doctor goes, and it turns out it's a trap.
It's not a trap.
It's a trap. The all right, what's
Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
not a trap.
Anyway, so Romana and what's his name? Merrick. They try to warn the Doctor because they were on the other side of a two-way mirror.
Any mnemonic devices for these names because these aren't real names.
I don't know. Merrick could be, and Marshall is. I do know a guy named Marshall.
That is one demerit for you.
Get yourself into the drink. So anyway,
I expect you to be on episode 6 by the time I get back.
Then stay out there a while.
Okay.
Alright.
And go. Speed running.
Alright, so the Doctor ends up going into the transmat. Romana and Merrick run up. It's a trap, K9. And turns out it gets transmitted to Zeos, not the third planet, from Astros to Zeos. He's on Zeos, he's looking around, looking for things, can't find anything, lots of dust. Turns out there are no Zeons on Zeos, they're all dead. He eventually gets followed by Romana and Merrick, because Merrick is desperately looking for Astra, the princess whom he loves. He steals the tracer from Romana, jumps in the transmit, because he's acting incredibly rashly and foolishly because he's in love, and he uses the tracer to try to find Astra. Romana and K9 then follow him, and Shap, oddly enough, has gone to investigate all this, and he follows them through the transmat. So they all end up on Zeos. The Doctor runs into Shap, convinces him that he's, not a bad guy. Then they run in eventually to K9 and Romana, and they eventually run into Merrick, and they go looking around. Turns out K9 has run into the quote-unquote commander on planet Zeros, which is a computer. It's a computer. All the Zerosians are dead or whatever, Zeons or whatever. And this computer is running the war effort and is guiding everything. The computer is doing all the industry, the computer is manufacturing everything, the computer is piloting all the ships, running everything, a la Ender's Game. And the doctor's like, well, wait a minute, this is your enemy. And he tells that to Shap. Shap pulls out his gun, tries to shoot it, and there's self-defense mechanism that shoots the gun out of Shap's hand. Very lucky he didn't die or anything. And it's so funny because when the gun prop hits the floor, you see part of it fall off and get knocked away. And eventually he picks it up and he leaves with it. And it works again later, but it's kind of funny when it breaks, the prop breaks. Alright, so you got the one planet that knows it's at war and is being bombarded, is being destroyed. You got the other planet that everyone's dead and it's only run by a computer to help facilitate the war. You got the space station in between with the Shadow, and everything is being ruled by the Black Guardian with the Shadow from beyond. And yeah, it's very much an Uncle Steve episode, or serial, because it's just like way out there, pot smoking kind of story. So anyway, the Doctor eventually tries to dismantle the computer, the commander. In the same moment, the Shadow, through the crystal skull, tells the Marshal the war's over. Now that he has the Doctor, there's no need for bombardment, there's no need for attacks. Everything from Zeos is going to stop. Astros is fine, So the Marshal takes it as being, hey, I can go attack and we're going to destroy them. So the Marshal does that. The Marshal gets in his command module. It's great. The guy says escape pod. Oh, command module. He gets in his command module, heads out with the very last of their weapons on the very last ship, and he goes to blow up Zeos. They eventually get there. He eventually tells this guy to fire, and they're firing in on Zeos. In the meantime, the computer tells K9 the war's over. K9's like, yay. And then they ask, well, wait a minute, where's Astra? And the computer says, I can't tell you. Okay, what about the war? The war's over. Okay, that's good. What happens next? And K9 is just translating all this between the computer and the Doctor says, annihilation. The Doctor's like, what? Annihilation of what? He says, everything. So what's going on is the computer knows that the Marshal is coming with a missile and a bomb to destroy Zeos. The computer knows the war's over, so it can't fight, but it will defend itself by blowing itself up. And when it takes itself out, it will take out the third planet and Astros. So the whole solar system is going to go. And so the Doctor's trying to save millions of people here. He tries to literally hack into the computer physically, not through a keyboard or anything, but cutting wires and stuff. And the computer self-defense mechanisms immediately go into final countdown to self-destruction. And then when it tries to cut into it, it shoots the command console, so it blows itself up. So there's no way to stop anything. It's in final countdown. So the Doctor and Romana run to the TARDIS, and the Doctor's trying to set the 5 pieces of the key of time together with the tracer so they can at least control some time. It doesn't work, so the Doctor goes in and creates a 6-piece, which is what they're missing, out of some silicone base or whatever, and it bridges the gap enough that he has some control, 99.6%. So he pauses the universe in a time loop, and then he decides to make it smaller because it'll decay more slowly. He makes a time loop just for the Marshal ship and for the control room on Zeos. because the Marshal's going to try to blow up Zeos, and the computer of Zeos is trying to blow up everything. So he freezes them, and you see the Marshal keep going, fire, fire, fire. We're into episode 4 now. So episode 3 ends with the Marshal trying to go faster, faster, faster to get to Zeos. Kind of a weird ending. There's several endings in this serial where there's not really a cliffhanger, and it's just a continuation. They kind of run out of time. That's the way episode 3 ends. So the Doctor gets to, he sets everything, and he sets everything in a time loop, but the time loop is degrading. So Marsh's ship keeps coming in 3-second time loop, then goes to 4 seconds, eventually it'll go to 5, and eventually when it gets to 10, they're going to fire everything. So the Doctor's still looking for the 6th part of the key of time, so because he only has an hour or 2 with a time loop. Eventually, he and Romana managed to make it to they'll eventually make it to the 3rd planet. The Doctor sends Shap and Merrick back to Astros. He tells Merrick he needs to take care of his injured because Merrick's a surgeon, and he tells Shop to stop the Marshal from firing. So Shop heads back, and Shop is literally getting in the transporter when one of the muteless guys from the Shadow shoot him. And he shoots back, he goes, ah, and he falls backward in the transporter and then gets transported. Luckily, he's only stunned. We know this because he shows up later. Merrick gets lured by a hologram of Astra, the Princess Astra, who is now in the employ of the Shadow. She's got one of the things on her neck like the Dr. Romana saw on the Marshal earlier. The Marshal is completely in the employ of the Shadow with the thing on his neck, and now Astra is. She lures Merrick into a hole where he falls and twists his leg. And there's some great acting in there where eventually she helps him up and then just literally leaves him by the side of the road to die. It's interesting. So the Doctor and Romana head back to the TARDIS. They're working on the Key of Time. In the meantime, Astra shows up and she's told by the Shadow to help lead to get into the TARDIS, because the Shadows tried to get into the TARDIS and they've captured the Doctor, and he's like, you'll leave me in the TARDIS, and puts him in this device where if he tells a lie he gets stunned, and every time he tells a lie the pain is higher. And Doctor's like, no, and he lies a couple 2-3 times, and then he's eventually like, yes, the parts of key time are in there, because he shows him the TARDIS, because the TARDIS was taken away by the Shadow from under all the rubble. So the Doctor, and eventually the Shadow says, I've waited long enough, I can wait longer, lets the Doctor go. Bad move. The Doctor looks around all on the Shadow's 3rd planet, doesn't find Astra, but eventually runs into an old college. What's the word for it? An old college mate. And it's like, wait a minute. The college mate, the Doctor's running around in this weird underground base, which I don't know why the 3rd planet is like this. It makes no sense. It's a satellite in space, man-made, but it looks very much like rockiness and an underground cavern. This guy's kind of pushing out. Episode 4 ends about here. And then the guy comes out and he goes, hey, Faye? Or Thee? And so I was like, what? Theta Sigma. Theta Sigma, I know you. We were in class together. Gallifrey, class of 92. And I'm Drax. I was like, what? Drax. And they're like, he thinks for a while. He's like, oh, Drax. Come in.
Are you done yet?
I'm on episode 5, I think.
Oh, okay.
Alright. We just met Drax. That's episode 5, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Alright. So, to abrogate the question you're going to ask, Drax...
Preempt me?
Preempt. Drax calls the Doctor Theta Sigma. Okay.
I do have that question.
And we don't... And for a long time, I was like you. I thought it was the Doctor's name. It's not his name. It was his college name. His fraternity name.
That doesn't make any sense.
Theta Sigma is Greek. Okay? You know that, right?
I know that Sigma is Greek.
And Theta is Greek.
He doesn't call him Theta.
Yeah, he calls him Theta Sigma.
Theet.
Theet, short for Theta. And at one point he calls him Theta Sigma.
I never heard him call him Theta. I only heard
He
him call
calls
him
him Theta. At one point he goes Theta Sigma. It's Greek. It's his Greek fraternity name, not his actual name. It was a nickname when he was in college in his fraternity.
He does not like Drax calling him Theet.
Correct. He is now the Doctor. And Drax was like, oh, I mean, you got your doctorates and all. He's like, yeah.
I believe that Theet was as much the Doctor's real name as the Doctor is, much as the Doctor is also the War Doctor. And these personality differences don't identify with one another. And the Doctor changes his personality, so he went from being Theet to being the Doctor, to being the War Doctor, to being the Doctor. I believe Theet was his name, maybe his original name, honestly.
No, his original name is unknown. That was simply a fraternity nickname.
When do they explain that? And how do they explain it?
They
don't explain
the BBC has explicitly stated several times, as have the showrunners, that we don't know the Doctor's name. The Doctor never tells his actual name. He goes by the Doctor, and apparently this is a college fraternity name.
The BBC never said it was a college fraternity name. They said, we do not for sure know the Doctor's name, because the Doctor lies. This could be his name.
No.
Theet,
Theta Sigma is a Greek...
Not Theta. Theet could be
Theta.
his name.
He says Theta at one point.
He says Theet could be his real name.
He says Theta at one point.
Drax isn't... What is...
Would you care to make a wager on this? That he says Theta Sigma.
Oh, that he says Theta Sigma?
When referring to the Doctor, yes.
I don't really want to make a bet, but
okay.
I would like to...
That's what this is.
I don't remember him ever saying...
He says Theta Sigma. And they're both Greek letters because it's a Greek college name. Greek fraternity name.
Theta is not Theet.
Theet is short for Theta.
Nah.
Yes.
It has 2 E's in it.
Yeah.
So it's not short.
I'm just telling you, okay? He calls him Theta Sigma, and he calls him Theet for short. But eventually the Doctor goes, Doctor, because he got his doctorates. Anyway,
he doesn't call Drax engineer.
No, the Doctor's a title. And in this case, a name.
Doctor's a prick.
Wow. Okay. So anyway, there's this old college buddy of his that just happens to show up in the third planet, which is a space station, but looks like a cavern for some weird friggin' reason.
Honestly, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like said Uncle Steve.
This makes so much sense, man.
Alright.
So the Doctor is a Time Lord named Theet that
whose college nickname was
whom
Sigma.
Whom breathes through his butthole.
No. Alright, osmosis through his pores. Okay.
That's not an orifice.
Yeah, pores. Alright, so the Doctor confronts Drax, says, hey, you were gonna try and get in the TARDIS, knock me on the head, take a piece of keys of time.
Also talk about the unprecedented fire resistance the Doctor has by reaching into a furnace to grab his companion. And
you want to go back and ask a question?
In episode 2.
Alright. We're in episode 5, but go back and ask your episode 2 questions. I'm gonna grab the deal so I can write down, so we can rate pick our favorite cereal for this season, you know? Well, hand me the eraser and the marker, will you, please?
Yes.
Not that, the black one.
Oh.
The black one.
Right.
Thank you.
Racist.
All right. So the Doctor says he learned those tricks from some men in Bali.
Firewalkers
in Bali.
That doesn't make any sense.
What? They do firewalking in Bali. Why does it make any sense?
They don't survive extreme temperatures that would incinerate a person.
It is very much implied that they do.
They walk on hot coals because they have built up skin calluses.
He very much implies that.
Reach into
but I mean, you can believe it or not believe it, but that's very much what's implied.
I don't believe that you can survive extreme heats with a technique that's teachable to anyone.
Well, I mean, you can teach mind over matter. You can do that. And I believe that's what's implied.
It only goes so far.
Correct. But, you can teach people to resist torture. I think that's right in that line.
That also goes only so far.
Right, but I think the Doctor... was well within his abilities here.
I think the Doctor lied about it being a technique taught to him. And
the Doctor does lie.
Does this ever come up again? His surviving inferno-like temperatures?
Hold on, let me think.
Because he didn't stick around very long in Inferno, because it implied that he would melt. He didn't use a technique then. I like to watch you just flick through the Doctor Who
everything in my head. Yeah.
You're just let me see here.
It's all right. There are several times in the future where it is stated or implied or directly shown the Doctor can survive many things that normal humans cannot.
Like when he tells Merrick not to go towards the irradiated room, so he can go towards the irradiated room, because Time Lords have radiation resistance more so than...
Right, correct. Other times with oxygen deprivation, extreme heat, extreme cold... And
oxygen deprivation because he breathes through his butthole through a respiratory bypass system.
No. That would still require oxygen. And even brief periods in the depths of space.
That's very cold.
Yes.
In the vacuum.
Yes, and the Doctor survives several places like this in the past and in the future from this serial where normal humans absolutely could not.
Yes.
All right.
That's the point I'm getting at. Is I don't think it was a technique.
It's part of his physiology and it's part of his abilities based on everything he's done.
So have while I was gone, have you hinted about the so this season? Excuse me. Pardon.
You okay?
Excuse me. I've been choking up all night. I'm just so emotional. I can't. This is where we edit that.
No, not any. Oh, seriously, are you all right?
No.
Okay. All right, good. What's the next question?
Forget how to function. So, this whole entire season, can you sum up the stakes of the plot of the season? Why they need the key of time?
They need the key of time to put the universe into working order and save it from falling into chaos.
And the Time Lords, as a society, sent Romana to help the Doctor in this task.
Yep.
Right? If the entire universe rests on this. Why would they only send 2 random rogue Time Lords to secure the fate of the universe and the balance of good and evil?
Okay, they sent the Doctor because he is used to roaming and getting things done in strange cultures. They sent Romana, who's a brilliant, and a recent graduate to keep an eye on the Doctor. So they have...
And they sent no one else to secure the fate of the entire universe.
Well, they have the Maverick, and they have his handler. And they figured that's enough. But they were sent by the president of the Time Lords.
The entire universe.
Well, once again, it's not they who sent them. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Good.
But I'll also come back to the...
What's your next question?
You just answered all of them, I think.
Alright, yeah. Alright, so episode 5. Drax... Okay, so literally K9 is captured by the Shadow and gets one of those little control-y deals placed on him, alright? And so he's got under his chin. So the Doctor encounters him, and K9 keeps calling the Shadow Master. And when he comes to the Doctor, he doesn't call the Doctor Master, he calls him Doctor. And the Doctor's immediately tipped off that K9's on himself. He's like, wait, Doctor? You've always called me Master. He thinks to himself, right? And, yes.
So why is he okay being called the Master instead of Doctor, but not Seat instead of Doctor? He's okay with being called
because
Master.
K9 calls him Master and Romana,
because
Leela, whomever, Mistress. Because that is K9. K9 is a robot. It's okay.
He doesn't let his old college friend call him by his old college nickname because he's a jerk. The Doctor's so incredibly arrogant sometimes, which honestly makes him pretty unlikable as a character.
Sometimes.
A lot of the time.
No. Sometimes.
He's very full of himself and arrogant. Sometimes it's well written to where it's funny and cocky and endearing. And other times it's like, you're an ass.
Everyone has those moments.
Every
single person has moments of being amazing, and every single person has moments of being an ass. It's just part of human nature.
The Doctor has his flaws. And they really irk me. I really don't like the Doctor's flaws. Because they are big flaws. They make him kind of unlikable as a character.
Sometimes. So anyway.
Like 50% of the time.
No, not that much. Have a jelly baby. Alright. They're in the other room. Alright.
You want me to leave?
No. I'm just
You're like, get out of here.
So, the Doctor and Drax, Drax finishes his shrink ray.
Drax, Guardian of the Galaxy.
Alright, so Drax finishes his shrink ray. The Doctor's like, okay. The Doctor gets himself captured.
Dave Bautista. Drax.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Different Drax.
Oh.
Doctor gets himself captured by one of the mutes. The mute is forcing him to open the TARDIS to get the key of time. And Drax shows up with the shrink ray, and Drax is like, him, shoot the mute. And Drax shoots the Doctor and then shoots himself. End of episode 5. Episode 6.
Yes.
They're standing in a small area.
It's incredible how you could do all this with no notes.
Well, it depends on how sober I am. I'm reasonably sober tonight.
I have to write down like how every episode ended, or it's out of my mind. Or you're just boom, 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 boom.
Well, I've seen these so many times. All right.
How many times have you seen this one?
This one?
5 times? 4 times?
At least a dozen.
Really? One of your favorites?
No. Well, yes,
I've seen this 100 times. I don't even like it that much.
I've got some movies I've seen at least 100 times. Rocky Horror Picture Show, I've seen at
100 times?
At least 400 to 500 times.
I think
400 to 500. Aliens and Wizards, I've seen at least 150 times.
So many hours.
Yeah, I like those movies.
I I think the movie I've seen the most is maybe Toy Story 2. And that's probably no more than in the hundreds. Like 100. It's less than 200 times, so I have no idea how someone watches a movie that many times.
Well, I was young and we had cable.
I was young.
That's why I saw Wizards so many times and Aliens so many times.
Oh, Wizards is great. So I added
I showed you that one, right?
We watched Wizards.
Yeah.
And that's when I added a movie to the movie list that you have to see.
Which one?
And Lissa as well, because Lissa's kind of on animated movies. I'm like, you have to watch this movie.
Which one was it?
I have also not watched this movie, but it's a must-see movie.
Which movie? You keep describing it.
And the Cobbler. The Thief and the Cobbler, animated movie. Amazing.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
But it's amazing.
I will tell you about this movie and why you have to see it, but I won't take us on topic anymore. We'll talk about it later.
So episode 6. Okay, so the Doctor gets shrunk and Drax gets shrunk. And they get canine.
They act like they're invisible, but they're actually very visible.
They're about 6 inches tall.
If there's a 6-inch person walking
6
around,
inches tall.
that is grabbing my attention pretty immediately in my field of view. So if someone was 6 inches tall standing by my foot, I'd be like, ah!
So canine...
My point is, I hate stage direction. It's so unbelievable.
So Drax had taken the little thing off of K9,
Yes.
and K9 is now there for the Doctor.
Well, the
Doctor is his master again and all that.
Sorry.
Okay. So K9's a good guy again. So Drax and the Doctor get into K9's undercarriage, which apparently has a little door that people can get in and out of, but to allow people for repairs.
So it's also
allowing for repairs.
That's where like the monitor is on the side, because one side says K9, the other side's a monitor.
Yeah.
And the monitor is also like a sliding door.
Yeah. So they go in there, they get transported by K9, and the Doctor's like, you have to convince the Shadow that you're still his.
Shadow.
And he busts in, he blows a thing. Blows through this little bit of rock. K9 comes in and goes...
He tells them the line. He says, say this.
Say this. And Merrick had donned a black cloak to look like one of the mutes. And he goes in, and for some reason, Princess Astra is convinced she is the 6th princess of the 6th house, of the 6th dynasty, of the royal house of this. And she is the 6th... And Romana finally realizes, oh, you're the 6th part of the key of time. At the same time, Merrick realizes she's the 6th part of the key of time. And so she gets all in this destiny mode. This is my destiny. I must be part of the key of time. This is my destiny. I must be part of the key of time. And she goes up, and the Shadow convinces her that's her destiny. She goes up, she touches it, and she turns into the 6th part of the key of time. Merrick, who I don't understand why he didn't stop her from doing this, jumps on and goes, no! Why did he do that before she touched it and turned into the silicone part of the key of time?
Have I ever told you what a wonderful speaker you are? You're so animated.
Oh,
you ever DN? You'd be a wonderful DN.
Not in 30-something years.
Or politician.
Not
this is now
years.
on my bucket list. I want to play a campaign, even if it's a one-shot. I want to be in a game where you're the DM. It's on my bucket list.
Oh, thank you. That'd be cool.
Someday.
That'd be cool.
That would be a dream.
Oh, thank you. I don't think I'd be as good as you think I'd be.
No, it doesn't matter. It's pretty awesome.
All right, so
it would be wonderful.
So she turns into the 6th part of the key of time. Merrick only goes no, and then K9 busts through, and the Shadow's like, "What is this?" He goes, "Master, there is an intruder," and the Shadow goes, "Oh, okay." He looks at Merrick, and he goes, "Sure, but he and Romana will be here to witness my triumph." And he holds up the 5 parts of key of time with the silicone part in and the other parts of the floor at the same time. And I love when K9 comes in, he goes, and he clears his throat because he's delivering a line when he says all that. He's acting. The Doctor and Drax get out. They reconstitute themselves to Big. The Doctor grabs the sixth part of the Key of Time, grabs the Key of Time from the Shadow. They run off, and
he goes, and the guy goes, because he doesn't like bright lights. Same thing happened when they opened the TARDIS. He's like, they left the lights on. It's too bright. Can we talk about how terrible the Shadow is as a villain?
We will in a minute. Hold on.
All right.
So the Doctor runs off, runs with everybody back to the TARDIS. They all get away because the Shadow is incredibly incompetent and inept. And they get to the TARDIS, and they're like, all right, we got the sixth part of the Key of Time. Ramon's like, well, put it in. He's like, I can't do it in a second. The time was going to end, you know? Drax is like, if you ever want to thank you, and if you want to get rid of that thing, let me know. I'm staying, and I'm going to work with the Marshal for all the scrap on Xeon. And Drax is like, well, when did you do that? He's like, in about half an hour. Yeah. So he leaves.
See, Drax is someone who thinks with time travel.
No, he's someone who can con people. He's a great con artist. He really is. So the Doctor. Okay. So the Doctor's like, well, we have to constitute the key of time.
You say con artist, I say entrepreneur.
They manage to put it together, and they run. Well, first they run off, and they stop the Xeon computer from blowing everything up. With Drax running in,
less than
0 seconds left. Right. It's the green wire. Wait. Let me check. It's the green wire. And they cut it, and it stopped. And then they're worried about the missile hitting, so they run off and they take off in the TARDIS. The missile hits. It's all good. It's all fun.
Except
who cares?
He programmed the defense computer to do a force field to deflect the missiles into the third planet, destroying
So
it.
the missiles bounce off to the third planet, destroy it. Xeon's okay. Astros is okay. Third planet's destroyed. The Shadow's destroyed. And you see, the Black Guardian, you are factored into my plans. Your death is factored into my plans. He will still deliver the Key of Time.
What does he call him? Useless.
Yeah.
Cretin or something.
Yeah, Jack and all. No, it was in there somewhere.
Jack and all. Previously.
Yeah. But yeah.
That might have been a line from the Marshal.
The Marshal or the Shadow?
Yeah.
The Shadow.
But the Black Guardian insulted the Shadow, and I thought it was a great line.
This useless cretin. And so it's like, your death has already been factored into my plans. And anyway, so the third planet is destroyed. Xeon is saved. Astros is saved. The Marshal's okay. The Doctor and Ramon are okay. They have the Key of Time. They put the sixth part in, and then the Doctor's what's this called? His TV screen.
Oh, the monitor thing.
The monitor shows up, and it's the White Guardian, and he's like, "Hey, Doctor, you've completed your task amazingly. You're great. You're good." And Doctor's like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
Do they call it the scanner?
The scanner. That's it. The scanner. And Doctor's like, "Well, hey, anyways." Can you just do your thing and we can take this apart? He's like, well, yeah, but I need the key for safekeeping. Well, why? Well, because it's too powerful. The Doctor's like, well, I've thought about that, and the sixth segment of the key was a human being. It was a living person.
Which is not the first time. I would argue this isn't the first time we saw a segment of the Key of Time be an organic thing, because I'd say
on the Stones of Blood. You're talking about the planet.
The power of Kroll. Kroll was a giant squid.
Yeah, but it wasn't a human being. It was not a.
It wasn't a human being, but it was a biological disguise for a segment of the key. Because when he stuck the tracker in it and turned it back into the Key of Time,
right?
There wasn't
but there wasn't intelligence. It wasn't.
Kroll was
Exactly, and it kind of set the stage along the line for it to be a human being.
Yeah.
I like the progression.
Subtle foreshadowing. Yeah.
And the Guardian's like, well, that's understandable, but
do you have a favorite segment of the Key of Time?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
No, I mean like not serial, just of the segments.
What? No.
Like, was Kroll your favorite, or Astra was your favorite segment, or the statue was?
Well, I had a crush on Princess Astra. So yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
That's what you were alluding to. Okay.
Kroll was my favorite segment.
So you have a crush on Tentacle Porn?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, and the doctor's like, well, wait a minute, we shouldn't trust anyone with this. He's like, well, that's why I need to be my safekeeping it. And the doctor's like, what if I was colorblind? What if I gave it to the wrong Guardian? And he suspected as much, and the Guardian, the White Guardian, turns all negative and turns all black.
The inverse.
And he's like, yeah, the inverse. He's like, I will get you, Doctor. I will scatter every atom of your beings of the universe. I will destroy you. And it was like, okay, goodbye. And the Doctor says, Romana, dematerialize when I tell you to. He lifts the tracer out of the key, and he breaks it, and he says, now, and she dematerializes, and that all the parts of the Key of Time break off and go their separate ways back from whence they came, and Princess Astra is returned as Princess Astra, and she meets Merrick where he was injured, and apparently they live happily ever after, at least is what's implied, and the Doctor and Romana in the TARDIS, and the Doctor's like, okay, I've got this blank box randomizer on the coordinates. And Romana's like, well, why? Says, well, that way we don't know where we're going. She's like, why? Well, I don't know where we're going. The Guardian, Black Guardian doesn't know where we're going. So we're going to hit random for a while. It's the great scientific principle called as potluck.
They're a randomizer. They finally have a plot explanation for why the Doctor can never go where he's trying to.
Well, after the first Doctor's TARDIS being problematic, yeah.
Well, the TARDIS has been problematic all the time, but now he's intentionally not knowing where he's going, so it's a plot explanation for an excuse to write a new adventure. He's going somewhere random, ending up in an unsavory situation, probably.
Anyway, end of episode 6. End of the sixth part of the Key of Time.
You remind me of the Little Rascals when you do.
Yeah. Bye-bye. End of the sixth part of Key of Time.
They do that. What's their their secret? Do you watch the Little Rascals movie? Not the old one, but like the 90s one.
Not the new one, no. All right.
Not the new one, but the 90s one, 1990s, I think.
That would be the new one. Anyway, I don't know.
No, that was awesome. With the go-kart race. Amazing film. Oh, it's so good. Amazing. How could you not like that film?
Haven't seen it.
Well, how can you judging books by their covers?
No, you're just talking about the new one, and to me, the 90s would be the new one.
So the ones you like are like the old black and white.
Black and white, yes.
Those are great too, but if you've never even seen the film, it's an amazing film.
All right.
You don't like it because it's in color.
No, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying I don't like it. You're saying I don't like it. Right.
You said
What are your questions?
The end.
What are the rest of your questions? Oh my gosh.
All right. Let's take a gander, shall we? K9 makes a friend, and then it dies.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Does K9 have any other friends?
The Doctor and Romana.
Any other friends of his kind that he enjoys communicating with? Because he specifically said it's one like me. I get to finally communicate with a
chameleon.
Chameleon's a robot, or that's an automaton, isn't it?
It's an android. You'll see.
Android. Okay.
We'll get to chameleon.
Do they kind of click? Do K9 and chameleon come? I just want K9 to have a girlfriend and
no, doesn't happen ever. No.
Cybermites.
No, doesn't happen. No.
Oh.
Sorry.
He's a companion. Man's best friend. We talked about the whole time traveling thing. I think I still disagree.
What's your right?
Right.
It's your right.
That's my right.
Yeah.
at buying time. We don't agree about too much. I'd say we agree on 50% of of our opinion.
Yeah.
We're 50-50. I think that's a healthy relationship is to agree half of the time with your friends and to have a healthy discussion of disagreement half the time. Mm-hmm. It's important to have friends that have different opinions so you have a diversity of thought. 50%. Would you agree? We agree like half the time.
Like that, yeah. Yeah, you're wrong half the time.
Sometimes I agree with you, but I argue just to be the contrarian.
Facetious, yeah.
No, just to like, because I know there are people that would disagree with us. I have to be their voice because they're not present. So I just have to follow the thought. Them. No. I am a bit facetious, but I also can't help but have the conversation. Blah blah blah. Did the third planet kind of remind you of like Omega's antimatter world?
Not really, because the antimatter world was a whole world with an outside and everything. The third planet was all encapsulated, but oddly enough, it looked like cavernous, even though it was inside of a space station. It was much more like the.
That was much more like
the place where Zoe was picked up.
Okay, yeah.
You remember that?
I remember the set, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the sets I wrote down in that serial was specifically bad. The styrofoam rocks.
Yeah.
But most of the set was okay.
Did you ever find the one you thought was more zany than this?
I did not.
The Mind Robber, maybe?
I think it's in a different notebook.
Okay.
I remember one of the episodes, my only note was, this is shit.
From this one or previous one?
No, not this episode. This serial was great.
It was great. It was just weird.
A serial that was so convoluted and like sci-fi jargon, and they're explaining away nonsense with more nonsense, and I had no idea what was going on. And like during the third or fourth episode, I was just like, "This is awful." I have
the underwater menace, maybe.
I'll have to find it because I remember I cursed in my notes about it because I was so frustrated. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. It's terrible. I remember I complained about it because we got on the podcast and I'm like, this is my least favorite serial.
Okay. Well, I think your least favorite thus far was The Invisible Enemy.
It might have been that's the one with all the doppelgangers, right?
No, well, yeah, but that's the one with the prawn that comes to normal size as the doctor shrinks down, goes into his own brain and all that stuff. That's the only episode. That's the only serial where you went, "This is bad."
That one, I think, it was probably it. Every plot device didn't make sense, and they explained it with some other nonsense that didn't make sense. And they're just making up words and definitions. I'm like, who wrote this serial?
Alright.
So I think that one was more convoluted than this one. This one was convoluted, but it was also very enjoyable. I liked it.
It was a lot of fun. There was a lot going on, and it was really interesting. I do enjoy it. Okay.
The Invisible Enemy, right?
No, not The Invisible Enemy.
No, The Invisible Enemy was the one that I hit.
Yeah.
I think I blocked that out of my mind.
Did you want to do the season 16?
I think I have like 2 more questions. And
what are your questions?
I definitely do want to do that.
What are your questions?
450 years ago, they went to school with Drax. Class of 92.
Yep. So you're looking. He's like 500 years old at this point, something like that.
So Astra is a person, right? A fragile biological human being, like you and me, kind of similar. But she's also a very important segment of the key in time, which the entire fate of the universe relies on her.
It's in her genetics, yeah.
What if she died? What if she got evaporated?
That would be bad, which is one of the reasons they're doing it now. And they're doing it in time order.
So what would the universe fall out of balance if a segment of the key was destroyed?
No clue.
Well, I just don't know why they would disguise the segment of the key as something so fragile. So I think my theory is the destruction of the disguise of a segment would revert it back into its original segment. So Which also makes me think that Astra is kind of immortal as she's a segment of the game.
Alright, you keep asking these questions. I really have to use the restroom. Okay. My break while you continue to pose these questions.
With you?
No.
You need help?
No. I mean, you can hold it if you want. It takes 2 hands.
3 hands. It's like one of those Subway sandwiches. There's a long. I regret every single thing I've ever said on all of these podcasts. This podcast is the reason I will never be able to be a politician. Also, because I don't know anything about politics or care. I say, you leave politics to the smart people, and then you hear some of the things they say, and you're like, well, I guess the smart people are saying leave it to the smart people, which is really... Never mind. Anyway, this was a great cereal. We're about to vote on our favorite cereal of this season, which is kind of a unique thing because this is the only season, I think, that we've really had a continuous storyline throughout the entire season. Like, we've had pretty a lot of consistency in some previous seasons, like the whole Unit arcs where the Doctor was stranded on Earth and he worked with Unit. That was pretty consistent because he had the same characters and the same sets, and he was always on Earth and he was working with the same people. But this is the first time where an entire season is just the same story arc, the same story beat. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like every serial kind of combines into one large overarching serial, which I hear continues to happen in the future. I think that's a ongoing theme. I'm gonna do something while Hatter's not here that he doesn't normally let me do. But I'm gonna turn the camera shutter over so I can see I have a monitor of myself. Because I'm always curious. I don't know. It's a very tiny one. Never mind. I imagine that differently. In like production sets where they have the cameras, the multiple camera angles, but you have the viewing monitor. So as they switch angles, you see who's on camera and who's not on camera, but you also get to see what's going on as it's happening. It just kind of helps with the flow of production as the people on camera. So that's like a production thing that I've always wanted, is like to have a monitor of y'all's view, so we know what you're looking at as we are creating the view, but Hatter doesn't like that. so we'll see if he notices. Welcome back. I missed you.
Oh, I missed you too. Alright. So what was the question?
So my next question would be, so we talked about Astra.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on that? What do you think would happen to her if she died or was disintegrated? Do you think she would revert back to the segment of Key, kind of like Kroll did when he was reverted back to the Key? Or do you think the Key would actually be destroyed?
No earthly idea.
So if the segment of... I feel like segments of the Key of Time are really important, which means they're probably very durable, very indestructible, which means if Astra is a segment of the Key of Time, she's kind of immortal.
Well, right? We don't know. She's the last of her line,
Mm-hmm. Well, she's going to marry Merrick, and they're gonna have little babies, and the segment of the Key is going to pass on through the DNA, which means they're probably also. Ooh.
All right. So what's your next question?
Next question. Didn't the White Guardian need the key? Except it's been scattered across the chaos.
It was the Black Guardian.
It was the Black. That's how.
It was the Black Guardian the entire time.
That's why I threw my pin at you, because I had all these questions. Then I realized that episode 6 answered all those questions, and you explained the explanation to me. So I'm like, well, I don't have any questions.
Yeah, it turns out it was the Black Guardian trying to get the Doctor to do all that.
All along.
And he was also trying to get the Shadow to do all of that, and...
that's what I wanted to talk about next is how incompetent of a villain the Shadow was. Because
he's so bad.
He delivers this entire monologue about I am better, I am stronger and faster. He's like my kung fu is better than you. And the Doctor kind of like goes along with it. He's like, yeah, you have a lot of resources and
well, the Doctor's just playing coy.
Supposedly, but also, you know, he recognizes the Shadow as a big threat. And he's this really built up villain.
And he just runs away with the key of time and physically.
Yeah. And then he's like, ooh, bright light. And as the Doctor's running away, he stands there and goes, get them. It's like, I'm so tired of these villains. They're built up and then totally incompetent. That's why I think the Master is so popular, because he's the Moriarty to the Sherlock. He's like an equivalent. He's the equal of the Doctor. So it causes...
He's an actual Time Lord.
But I just don't understand why most episodes the villain is really just kind of a puppet master, and he just has other people do his bidding. But when in direct conflict, they're just completely helpless, and they just go,
if they were competent, they wouldn't be villains. They'd be good guys. Seriously, villains are mostly incompetent boobs, you know?
Boobs?
Boobs.
Are you talking about in real life or specifically in
both.
Literature?
Both.
Yeah, sometimes. There are some very competent villains.
Lissa asked, how did Drax know the Doctor was the Doctor? I'm like, that's a good question. And I think it's because
I had
the psychic link thing.
That was my theory. When they locked eyes, I said, Psychic Lincoln.
Right.
Kind of like the Three Doctor special that they all did with each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that was also a question, because I only thought that was a thing that the same Doctor could do with different generations of himself. It makes sense that he'd be able to link minds with himself. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that other Time Lords could link minds.
Well, and occasionally the Doctor imparts some knowledge upon humans by linking minds with them. Right. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen occasionally, a little bit more in the new stuff. But it does happen in some of the old stuff.
I imagine most
Pertwee, McCoy, etc.
I imagine most humans probably couldn't handle a lot of Doctor's knowledge.
Correct,
so it's very rare, because he has to... He only does it to people he's convinced can handle whatever he's imparting upon them.
In fact, there's a companion who ends up with the Doctor's knowledge, and it will destroy her if she keeps it. So he has to erase her mind, all that knowledge to save her.
Except that wouldn't happen to that one companion that he dies over and over again for, right? Because she's better than him.
Never mind. Talking about Claire.
I'm being facetious.
Yeah, God, I hate Claire. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think we just about covered it.
Okay. So, this is one of the few times we see a Time Lord that knows the Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. And who knows him from back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Right. Kind of like...
when was the last time?
The Avatar, the monk.
The monk? But when was the last time we saw one?
Also, we saw one when he was fighting the Master, and he came... That one Time Lord that came floating in on an umbrella or something. Like Mary Poppins. And he said, don't open that door. There's a bomb. Bye-bye.
Right. That was Pertwee. But no. After that.
After that was the monk in the... What was that, the spider?
No, the monk was earlier. Yes.
The Great Intelligence?
Yes. The spiders. That was his Time Lord, the mentor of the Doctor.
That's what I'm talking about. He said, and he projected his future regeneration as an avatar,
right?
And then he regenerated into his projection.
Right. That was the last time before this we've seen a Time Lord who knew the Doctor, and it was Pertwee's final serial.
That's the one that Troughton used to tell stories about, saying, I had this friend, we were sitting under a tree, he gave me this advice.
Exactly.
My old mentor.
Love that. Anyway.
That's you. You're my mentor.
Oh.
So when I'm old and regenerate, I'll be like, I had this friend We used to sit on a leather couch, and he gave me this advice.
And I'll probably be long dead.
And you'll be projecting yourself into a future avatar.
I wish I could regenerate. No, actually, I don't. I don't want to live forever. Living
Not forever, just a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. People say, when you're young, you fear death. But you talk to old people, like 80, 90 years old, they're like, I'm so ready to die. They're just like, I'm miserable.
Alright. And you can go back to this next week. Next week.
Next week.
Alright.
Week.
Alright. Season 16. So we just
So excited.
Last week.
I was just telling the audience about how I'm excited to vote on our favorite of this season, because this is the first season where we've had this overarching plot, the storyline.
It'll happen twice more.
Yeah, I also mentioned that I heard that it happens again in the future, where they have season serials, where the entire season is just kind of like a boom, 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 boom serial.
The next one is the Trial of a Time Lord, which is 4 serials, 6 Doctor.
The whole season's 4 serials?
Yeah. They cut down the number of episodes. And then,
that's when they have the big budget cuts? And
some of them, yeah. And then series 13, which is called Flux, which is 6 episodes, all one story. And
6 episodes?
One story.
The whole season was 6 episodes? Is that when it got canceled or something?
No, that's Whitaker's most recent season.
Oh, series. No.
Series,
Oh,
yeah. Alright, so what's our least favorite here?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Yeah, I was just saying this is this is going to be a struggle, because they're all great, because they're all a part of the same story.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of voting on like which one's less memorable or which one's most goofy are the ones we're going to knock off. But they're also like pretty consistently good. I don't think there's anyone that I disliked. I liked all of them. I like. Even the goofy ones, I really like the villains.
No, the Pirate Planet is
so
fantastic.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like, even when they're more goofy, they're incredibly enjoyable in their own way, because the characters were so addictive.
Yeah. By the horns of Satan. Yeah, it's
that
like,
one was,
oh my gosh.
This whole serial was really ridiculous.
It was fun.
And it totally owned it. So even though they're so different, they're just really good in their own right.
So this
the
one,
Armageddon Factor was
so
amazing.
this one's like the Scriptstones, right? That bad guy duo.
This one, the Scriptstones kind of reminded me of like the what's it called? The witchy one, the Daemons, right? Because it's kind of that more superstitious, witchcrafty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the whole.
I like the development of the bad guys.
That was good too. In the twist, it's
and
like
the
very Scooby Doo. Like I would have gotten away with it too if it were for
Pirate Planet. Love the bad guy.
Amazing.
He's fantastic.
Characters. Also great plot twists with the pirate captain's assistant really being the mastermind behind it all.
Right.
That was also amazing character development.
Yep. Stones of Blood, really great with the old lady. One of her last TV appearances ever.
Yeah, she was
died.
great, and she's like passing around the rock salts and stuff.
Right, and the one lady being the Eternal, and with the deal in E space or whatever.
The old lady also reminded me of the witch from the Daemons or something.
Andrew
These two are very
Tara.
Superstitious. So
Andrew Tara,
about this one.
the one with the master-esque bad guy.
Mm-hmm. He was very master-esque. I think we talked about that.
Yeah. Power of Kroll with the green people, the swampies, quote unquote.
My favorite segment of the key.
Yeah,
was
and
a giant
squid.
What do they call kaiju? That's what they call Godzilla monsters.
And the Armageddon Factor, which we'll watch today.
I would love to watch Godzilla fight a Kroll. That'd be great.
Alright, so what is your least favorite of these? Which one can we eliminate first?
Honestly, they're all great, but I think maybe the androids, for me personally, would be the less memorable or the least impactful one.
Alright, it's got the guy from The Adventures of Baron Munchausen in it.
He was good.
He was good.
The schnauz. It was a lot of fun.
But I will agree with you. Androids of Tara is the least memorable and least phenomenal.
I would say in terms of style, 4 is competing with 2 in terms of like the goofy fun factor with the characters, and 2 just knocks 4 out of the park. So I'd say 4 is probably the weakest one in terms of style and being its own serial. So it's great that it fits in with the whole overarching story, but it really is probably my first vote.
No, it's my first as well.
Yeah. So what would you vote
this is
for
gonna
next?
get difficult.
I know.
This is really getting difficult.
It's like, honestly, 2, 5, and 6 are amazing, and then this one's really good, but it's kind of like an introductory one, so it starts a bit slower. I really like the character development, and then the Stones of Blood 2. Just like 2 and 4 were competing, I feel like 1 and 3 are kind of competing because they're both very similar in style, and I think there's.
Right, get rid of 1.
I think
get rid of 1.
Yeah, we could probably knock off 1 and 3. Because I think they kind of go out together.
3 is fantastic.
It's really good. I like the character. I like the old lady.
Serial 100.
But in terms of like this, it is the Centennial
Serial 100.
Great characters, man.
I would lose 5 before I lose 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of these two are definitely beaten by 2 and 6.
I would lose 5 before I lose 3.
I would lose both 5 and 3 in contrast to 2 and 6. And 2 and 6. Are you sticking for the Stones of Blood?
Oh, I like the Stones of Blood.
Was that your favorite of the season though?
I don't. All right, hold on.
If it makes it easier, I could veto the Stones of Blood in favor of 2 and 6. But if I don't know how much you enjoyed the third serial of the season.
All right, get rid of the Stones of Blood.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, gosh.
Boy.
All right. We're left the Armageddon Factor and
after I erased it, I immediately regretted it. I'm like, well, let me think about this again.
Stones of Blood is really good.
Let's put it back.
It's really fun. All right.
I don't know if it's my favorite though. It's not. I don't know what is my favorite, honestly.
This is sad, but okay. It's not necessarily sad, but I've got to go with the Pirate Planet.
As your favorite?
Yes. The Armageddon Factor is really good. I really love Princess Astra.
Yeah.
I really love the story. But damn if the Pirate Planet is just not full of fun and wonderful overacting.
Now here's my thought. I thought that you were going to vote for the Pirate Planet as your favorite of the serial. That's why I went ahead and went to cross off the Stones of Blood.
I love the Stones of Blood.
Because personally, my first instinct was the season finale was my favorite because the entire season's leading up to it, and you get that final payoff. It's the conflict resolution, which I was going to vote for this because it's the most recent in my mind, and it's the season finale. It's the climax. My first instinct was the 6 was my favorite, but then thinking about it objectively, I thought maybe it's just the hype, and if I were to really consider the standalone excellence of an episode, not as a whole season, but yeah, just the single serial, I would agree with you that the Pirate Planet is probably the best standalone serial of the entire season. Whereas 6 is great because it's the finale, it's the final payoff.
And you've got the Black Guardian.
Yeah, you get the whole payoff. But if we're considering just our favorite standalone serial, I think the Pirate Planet, as goofy as it was, I just really love the characters, the development. Normally I don't like goofiness, but they just did it so well. It was
by the left testicle of Hades.
Yeah. I feel goofy for saying it, but Serial 2
is so good.
Is our favorite serial of season 16.
Right. Write that down on the list for the seasons, the Pirate Planet.
Season 16, the Pirate Planet.
Alright. So,
I had no idea where that was going when we first started voting, but I felt like this was kind of inevitable, and I'm happy with that decision.
It was kind of inevitable.
It was all neck and neck. They were all very close.
I still like the Stones of Blood, but...
Me too, I do.
It did have to lose the power plant.
They were all magnetic.
Right. So thank you for joining us.
You're happy with that? I'm happy with that.
I am.
Very happy with that.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week when we will do
our
something
season
else.
17, serial 1 is the something.
Something of the Daleks.
The Destiny of the Daleks.
Destiny of the Daleks.
Dynasty of the Daleks.
Destiny.
You ever play Destiny?
No. And then the next. Ooh, honey. The next week, 105, we'll do the City of Death. One of the best.
The week after.
One of the best
City of Death
serials. One of my favorite serials of Doctor Who.
Ooh.
And it's the only serial of Doctor Who that has a Pythonian. What's the word?
Villain?
No. Pythonian. But they show it briefly. Cameo. Pythonian cameo. It's the only serial of Doctor Who with a Pythonian cameo.
Like a member of Monty Python cameos? What?
Cameo, yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's
No, wait,
a
which
member
one?
of Monty Python
don't
shows
spoil
up
it.
in a cameo. I will not spoil it for you.
I was going to ask who, but...
Nope,
I'll find
won't
out.
spoil it.
And they're going to come on screen. I'm not even going to notice. You're still going to have
But
to tell me.
it's a great serial. It's set in Paris.
Ooh.
Yep,
Baby.
wonderful. They filmed on location.
I
It was
love
absolutely fantastic.
on-location suit shoots.
Lots of running from one Paris location to another.
So you
show
get
up
to
Paris.
see all the...
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh. Alright. See you next week, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you like how I turn the monitor screen around? Oh.
No, not exactly. At all. Thank you.